Hello and welcome. I am so glad that you are here. Today we're gonna dive into the 5 key steps to organizing a successful retreat. Organizing a retreat can be a transformative and lucrative venture for you. In today's session, we walk through 5 key aspects to ensure a seamless and successful retreat. But before we dive in, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Manu and I am your Yoga Biz mentor. I help yoga and wellness professionals just like you gain confident, strategic growth skills and business mastery so that you can navigate the industry with assurance and clarity to achieve sustained success. I am also a retreat leader and advisor, having worked full-time in the retreat industry since 2008. I also do retreat consultation for retreat leaders and retreat venues. But today's session, it's not about me. Today's session is about you and your future retreat. I like to start with a disclaimer. Planning, organizing, marketing, selling, and executing a retreat involve multiple facets, and there are so many aspects that cannot be condensed into a 15-20 minute session like today's one. However, with the following points I'm going to be sharing with you today, I'm aiming to provide a comprehensive overview to ensure all of the crucial aspects of your retreat are considered. With that being said, let's dive in and let's see the first step for running your retreat. As we dive into the first step, I like to warn you that you might be hearing some sounds in the background. Today is quite a windy day and you might be hearing the sound of the wind blowing in my window, so please bear with me. Thank you so much for your patience. Okay, so let's dive into step number 1, choosing your ideal client and the retreat theme. And for these steps, ideally you want to give yourself 10 to 12 months before the retreat starts. Yes, you hear that correctly. Running a retreat takes so much, and I think it is very important that you give yourself enough time, not only to create the retreat, but also to market, to sell, and to organize all of the details. This is the time to define your target audience and to clarify your niche. Who is your retreat for? This is a key aspect that cannot be skipped. You might have heard about the importance of having a niche, and yes, I am also going to tell you that. Having a niche is going to make things much easier for you in terms of creating your retreat and marketing, and for your ideal student or client in terms of finding your retreat online. So having an ideal client will give you ideas on the retreat theme. Will your retreat encompass various themes like Ayurveda, fitness, or meditation, or will it be just yoga? In my experience, the first option, that means combining yoga with something else, tends to be more interesting. But ultimately, the theme of your retreat will fluctuate between your expertise and your ideal student or client needs and preferences. Do you have a community of students or clients right now? A good idea would be to ask them questions even before you design your retreat. I know sometimes we might get too caught up into our little retreat designing laboratory, perhaps thinking that what we are creating is going to be the best for our clients. And the truth is that despite being a good offering, perhaps this is not what your ideal student or client might be looking for. So it is always a good idea to connect with your people, those potential clients, those who are your students right now, and ask them questions. What would they like to see and experience in your retreat? And these are 3 questions you could be asking yourself in this moment, 10 to 12 months before the retreat. Who is this retreat designed for? Second question, does my retreat addresses a well-being problem that my ideal student or client may have? And based on that, what am I going to teach? I hope all of these things are helpful. Remember, super important to connect with your people, connect with your tribe, and ask them questions. Don't be afraid to ask them questions. That can give you a lot of important information. Now, let's move to step 2. So step 2 is about critical questions like where, when, and how much. And ideally for this part of the process, you still have 10 to 12 months. So step 1 and step 2 really come together. Those are things you need to think before, way before your retreat is happening. So one of the first things here, once you have an idea of what your people are looking for, you need to select a venue that aligns with your retreat theme, and you need to understand the cost involved. And when I say you need to understand the cost involved, you need to be like really clear in each and every cost that running your retreat will entail. That means rooms for your guests and for yourself, food for you and for your people, all of the traveling expenses, marketing, or even if you are using a virtual assistant, or if you are including extra activities in your retreat, or even if you have a facilitator for your retreat, all of these are going to be costs that need to be calculated way before you calculate the price for your retreat. So please bear that in mind. Be very aware of the venue's contract conditions and the cancellation policies. This is also really important because when you craft your cancellation policies for your retreat, you need to match the cancellation policies of your venue. And another super important aspect to consider here is that each and every venue that you ask for running a retreat, they are going to ask you for a deposit to secure your space. So super important thing is you don't want to risk a deposit. Bear in mind that once you know the venue and the dates, and once you connect with the venue where you're gonna be hosting your retreat, they are likely to send you a contract, and in the contract there is a cancellation policy, and usually there is the need of paying a deposit for booking those dates for your retreat. One thing is very clear, I would never like you to risk a deposit. So in this part of the process, you are asking information to the venue, how much does it cost to book a certain number of rooms and so on, so that you can have an estimated idea on the pricing that your retreat and booking your venue would cost. Now, once you start having your first bookings, and this is even before you pay the deposit to your venue, you can use that deposit, the deposit your people are paying to you, to pay the deposit to your venue. So once you have all of the info about the venue, it is a good idea to announce your retreat for your community. But how do you do this? Well, very easy. Now you have a place, you have a pricing, how much it would cost you to run a retreat, and you have some dates. So with all of this information, you don't need to have the landing page up and running yet, but you could connect with your closest students, with those you think they might be a very good fit for your retreat, and tell them, hey, I have a retreat happening this time of the year in this venue, and the price is going to be approximately more or less this amount. If you would like to be part of the early bird pricing offer, please let me know so that you can pay your deposit. Perhaps you ask them to pay €500 deposit, and then with those deposits you can already book your venue. In that way, you don't risk the deposit. You don't need to put that money out of your pocket. Does that make sense? If it doesn't make sense, please connect with me, ask me the question, and I would be happy to reply. Key questions for this part of the process is where and when do I want to run my retreat? And also, why? Why do I want to run my retreat there in that venue? There are so many venues that offer so many possibilities. Why do you want to go to that one? Another important question, how much is going to cost? I cannot stress this enough. You really need to be clear on how much costs running a retreat, each and every cost. So please be really, really mindful of this part. And finally, what is the minimum number of clients? What is the minimum number of people I am looking for? That's another important question for you to estimate and calculate how much the price for the retreat would be, and so on. So I hope this makes sense. If you have any questions, please always reach out and let me know. Now we are gonna dive into point number 3. Okay, perfect. So let's do a quick recap before we move into point number 3. Remember, point number 1 is about choosing your ideal student or client and the theme for your retreat. And point number 2, it's about where, when, and how much this is going to cost. This is 10 to 12 months in advance before your retreat, ideally. And all of this collecting information, that's gonna be what is gonna help you marketing your retreat to the people that might jump on it right away. And so you can already collect deposits for your upcoming retreat, and you can book your venue without risking losing a deposit. Now, let's move into point number 3. And this is all about logistics and promotion. Ideally, this happens between 6 to 8 months before the retreat starts. Yes, you hear that correctly. 6 to months 8 before the retreat, I like you to have a landing page for your retreat up and running. And I like you to be talking to everyone in your social media, in your email list, and to the people around you about your upcoming retreat. Let's create excitement. For this process, you need to create a beautiful landing page that you are going to be sharing on your website. And in that landing page, you want to share all of the details. Things like the name of your retreat, the dates, when it's happening, who is it for, what problems are you going to address in your retreat, and things like what's included and what's not included. You can also talk about the venue, the destination. You also want to put a lot of beautiful photos to make your retreat very beautiful to the eye of the person that is looking for that experience. And among other details that you might want to include in your landing page, one of the things I would really recommend is to have a cancellation policy. Now, my suggestion here is that when you negotiate with the venue, they will likely give you a contract or they will likely give you a written cancellation policy. So you want to match the cancellation policy for your retreat with the cancellation policy from the venue. In that way, you don't risk losing money if someone cancels last minute. Okay, so your retreat page now it's up and running for bookings, and as I said before, you need to promote this again and again through various channels, social media, email list. Another thing that you may be considering would be marketing your retreat in some of the retreat marketing pages that you can find in the internet. But bear in mind that it's gonna have an extra cost that you need to calculate for that at the beginning when you are considering all of the costs, including your marketing costs. So bear that in mind. Another important thing to consider in this part of the process is to maintain open communication with the venue and the participants and making sure that all of the little details are well taken care of. Key questions for this process could be, do I have a community, for example, an email list to promote my retreat? Will I use websites like Book Yoga Retreats for promotion and marketing? If so, remember what I say, consider all of those expenses. And with this, my friend, we dive into step number 4. Okay, my friend, I hope everything is making sense so far. But again, if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Just reach out in the comments, reach out on our Facebook group, and just let me know. Now it's time to dive into step number 4. And step number 4 is about the final preparations before the retreat. So far we have been having our creation and preparation phase and also our marketing phase. We've been screaming out of the rooftops about our retreat and sharing it with everyone in our email list, newsletter, in-person interactions. Now, we are 1 or 2 months away from the event, and this is the time to generate excitement amongst the participants that we have already joining the retreat. You can do that through emails, and you can share with them some little logistical details about the destination that you are traveling, what to bring, what not to bring. And also it's a really good time to offer some traveling advice and so on. Make sure that all of the contracts are in order, both with the venue and with your participants. Okay? Super clear. You have collected all of the payments, or at least you have collected the deposits. At this point, you are 1 month away from the retreat, so at this point you would likely have already requested for the full payment of your retreat. And so now it's time to move on. We are almost there. Do you have all of the spots taken on your retreat, or do you have some spots available? If you still have some spots available, this is the time to keep promoting. Some people like to book right before the retreat, but of course I always advise to market and your retreat way ahead of time and to give yourself enough time. But you never know, 1 month away of the retreat and even 2 weeks before the retreat, you can still have people who are like a kind of last minute people who join. And so there are 2 key questions that are very important for this part of the process. And one of them is, have you filled up your retreat? And if not, you know the answer, you need to keep promoting. The other question is, are all of the details and all of the forms and all of the contracts, signed contracts and document with the venue and with the participants in order? Please make sure everything is done and clear and good to go. And finally, our retreat is up and running, and we are already traveling. We are already in the process of just getting to the venue and start running our retreat. So these are the things that we need to consider once that it's happening. And something that I always recommend to my clients is that when you are running a retreat, please arrive to the destination, arrive to the venue 1 or 2 days in advance. That is going to give you a lot of time for preparation and also for landing and checking the place, making sure everything is fine. So during the retreat, remember to balance work and enjoyment. You've been working for so long over the last few months, just preparing, organizing, and marketing. Now it's time to deliver. But it's also time to enjoy with the retreat participants. It is a good idea to have a meet and greet on the first day and to give an overview of what the retreat will look like, what the attendees can expect, and also it's a good time to make introductions and for the people to bond with each other. If you're planning to give a gift, perhaps this is also an amazing time to give a gift for all of the participants to your retreat. Be very attentive to participant needs. Especially, I tend to see that the first 1 or 2 days, people tend to be a little bit more sensitive. After the second day, people just kind of go with the flow and then surrender themselves to the transformative experience, which is a retreat. Something really important also during this time is to make sure you have enough time for yourself to recharge your batteries. Remember, you're going to be with your group, you're going to be sharing a lot of information, and all of the people, the group that you are holding, are going to go through a transformation. So for you as a facilitator, it's also important that you take some time for yourself just to rest and just to protect your boundaries as well. Another great idea during this time, especially towards the end of the retreat, is to book some time with each and every participant and to invite them to do a review for you and to record them. Do a little interview about the retreat, record that, and ask them if this is something that you can use for promotion for future retreats. People are usually super excited, especially towards the end of your retreat, and they're gonna be super happy to record a video for you, sharing testimonials that can be an incredible asset for your next retreat. Another important thing to consider here is what's gonna happen when people finish your retreat. In my experience, people experience a huge transformation after 6-7 days retreat, and very often after the retreat, they almost feel like they have been left after the retreat is finished because everything is over and everyone goes back to their place. And that community and that sense of community, that cocoon that we have been creating, it's already dissolved and disappeared. So something interesting here could be offering to your retreat participants to continue working with you in a perhaps one-on-one level or perhaps group level. That will allow them to continue with the process of transformation they already took in when they came to your retreat. And finally, once the retreat is finished, it's time to reflect on the success and the areas of improvement. Stay in touch with the participants via email or some community groups, perhaps a WhatsApp community or a Facebook group, and keep providing value and occasional promotions. It's also a good time to market your upcoming retreat. You can share already details with the participants, and you could even offer a special price or promotion for those who wanna book your next retreat already. And so the key questions for this process would be what worked and what did not work, and what can I improve for my next retreat. And of course, you can always reflect on what will be the theme for your next retreat. And then you can go back to step number 1. I hope all of these tips provide you with a solid foundation for organizing your retreat. If you have any questions or need further clarification or on any point, please feel free to reach out. And if you are serious about running a retreat, take a look at the link below where you can find more awesome resources to make your retreat a real success. It was a pleasure being here with you today. And as I say, I hope you find it valuable. Please feel free to reach out. I am Manu Yoga Biz Mentor, and you can find me in www.yogabizmentor.com. Thank you so much for watching and looking forward to seeing you soon. Take care, my friend.